everyone. I'm really excited to be making this video finally. This is going to be the last video in Parenting from a Place of Wellness series. I want to wrap up that series, and I feel like, it's kind of a balance. The four videos that will make it up. The first two about parenting styles and how your parenting style can impact your sense of wellness, and just to keep that in mind as you're making intentional decisions about how you parent, because that choice is yours. I know that it can feel like you have so many people telling you what you need to do to be a good parent or to get it right. And to parent from a place of wellness, it really is important that you're doing what works for you, and that you make conscious decisions to parent in a way that aligns with your values. And then in this video, we're going to be talking about expectations. And this is really personal for me right now, as I am getting close to a baby myself. Hopefully, we're towards the end of our adoption processing, trying to get a baby, and so we're active in just a couple weeks, and then hopefully anytime we will have our baby. It might be a very short wait, or it might be a very long wait. We just don't know. But one of the things that's really on my mind as I do my best to prepare to be a mom, and for us to be parents, because we're working together to get ready, is thinking about managing our own expectations. Because over the years, as I have watched and studied parents and learned from them and talked to them and work with their children, one of the things that comes up repeatedly as the hardest part of being a parent is the sense of failure and guilt. And yes, it's annoying to change diapers, especially when there's a big blowout. Yes, it's exhausting to be up all night with your baby. Yes, it's hard to not have as much time for yourself or with your partner. So those are all very real challenges of being a parent. But over and over again, it seems like the parents who struggle the most are those that are the hardest on themselves, those that go into parenthood with expectations of what they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to do, and then always feeling like they're getting it wrong, and there's this bitterness and resentment, and it just becomes a very, just a hot mess of yucky feelings. And so today, as we finish up our Parenting from a Place of Wellness series, we're going to be talking about expectations that parents often have of themselves, and maybe approaching those with some curiosity, and to push back a little bit and say, is that really a realistic expectation I have of myself? And is that even my expectation, or is that somebody else's that I'm taking on? So that's what today is all about. So let's start by talking about where expectations come from, because they can come from a variety of sources, and some of them, well, really most of them we're not conscious of. We just kind of take it, and then some we pick up intentionally, or we're aware of at least along the way. So we're all born into a family, a unique set of circumstances, a culture, and those things, whether we realize it or not, shape and form what we expect a parent, a mom or a dad, to look like. And so we enter parenthood with beliefs about maybe, this is what my mom did, or this is what I saw, or this is what was expected traditionally in my culture, so this is what I need to do, and if I'm not meeting this standard, then I'm failing as a mom. In addition to our family of origin and just cultural expectations that we kind of carry with us, we also gather opinions throughout life through observation, and often we go looking for advice and listening for the experience of others. And sometimes that's our friends and our neighbors and our aunts and our sisters, and sometimes it's doctor whoever, or therapist, what's it such, and experts in the field. And as we listen and take in this diverse range of opinions, we develop additional expectations of ourselves as parents. So these can be big things like, I've had friends who have felt like a failure because they didn't want to breastfeed. I mean, at the end of the day, they tried in the beginning because they felt like that's what they were supposed to do to be a good mom. And it was hard for them. It was exhausting. It was not enjoyable at all. And this is totally different. Some moms love breastfeeding. It's a wonderful bonding time with them and their baby. So this is not about breastfeeding at all. This is about the expectation that some of my friends have had. This is what I have to do. And so they start and they hate it. And when they finally decide, okay, I'm going to switch to formula, it's like, oh, the sky is going to fall and crush me because I'm such a terrible mother. What an unnecessary burden to carry. Are there very opinionated people out there who say, this is what you have to do to be a good mom? And oh my gosh, yes, of course. And that can make it very hard to hear people come out and blatantly accuse you of doing something wrong. But I think that's where we have to use our common sense and realize that, especially today, formulas are excellent. I mean, they've been created to mirror what babies are getting from the breast. So today, more than ever, formula is an absolutely fine choice to make. At the end of the day, your baby is probably going to be fine either way. Whether they stand or fall as a human is not going to go back to, well, my mom gave me formula. So it's things like that I see mothers just crushed by, like, their whole, their shoulders rolled in, like, oh, I just failed my baby because, I couldn't do it. I'm less of a woman. Those are the types of things that are maybe worth stopping and considering. Is this really the thing that I'm going to spend my time feeling bad about? I was listening to a mom talk about getting ready to potty train her little girl, and she's reading this book about how to potty train, even though she potty trained her first baby just fine. But there's the pressure to constantly, there's a right way, otherwise how would they sell books, right? So anyway, she's reading this book. Not that there's anything wrong with reading books. If that's something you enjoy doing, I love reading about other people's way of doing things. So I'm not saying don't read, don't look, if it's fun for you. But if you read this stuff and think, oh, which she did, she's like, oh, apparently I've been changing diapers wrong. She's been a mom for 5 years. She's not changing diapers wrong. How do you change a diaper wrong? If it catches what it's supposed to catch, you're golden. The parents that I've talked to who tend to feel, carry the most guilt, it's around expectations related to the psychological well-being or emotional health of their baby. I've known mothers who have spent hours putting their child to sleep because by allowing her to cry herself to sleep, she's worried about creating attachment issues. And again, if that's something that's important to you, you're aligned with your value system, and it's a joy for you to do that, then by all means, you do you, sister. No judgment. But to operate under the belief that, well, this person said that I should do this or else this might happen. Keep in mind research, some of which is super low quality, and most lay people, like most of us watching this, and myself included, we don't have the skill set to look at a research paper and determine if it's high quality, because there's a lot that goes in to research methods, statistical principles that we don't understand. When I got my master's in psychology, I learned a lot about the research process, but the thing that I took away most was, wow, I don't understand this. This is a world that you really can't understand unless you're in it. The statistics that I did know, I quickly forgot when I left. But the other thing that really stuck out to me is when I did have that stuff fresh in my head and I was analyzing psychological papers, I was dumbfounded by how many were bad. Just research that was done that people could say, oh, well, research says, well, this piece of research is crap. The methodology is flawed. The conclusions are ridiculous. Like, it doesn't even answer the question that it said it was supposed to answer. And the way they did the experiment actually can't get those results, or they're not even statistically significant. So there's so many factors. You hear that phrase, oh, it's evidence-based, it's research-based. Oh, this person's an expert. Experts are people. And yes, is it important to consider what a doctor clearly has a lot more knowledge in the field of medicine than I do. So I'm going to listen with a different lens to a doctor than I would to my buddy who's on WebMD. But at the same time, it's that doctor, and 20 doctors have 20 different opinions. As amazing as medical science has become, even basic things are constantly overturned as new research comes to light. So to have a miserable mothering experience because one or two people claim that research says your child will be, messed up if you don't go to them the second they cry, I don't really know if that's the hill you want to die on. I think it's potentially more important for you to feel sane and for you to enjoy and have energy for parenting. Even if that means, honey, I'm gonna drop you off in your crib. I know you're crying. You'll be fine eventually. We all feel sad and we all cry. Babies cry. It's not your fault. It's not because you're doing something wrong. If your child is unhappy, that is not a reflection of your personal failure as a parent. They're just having a moment. We all have moments. And isn't it important that we let our child experience tough moments and show them that we believe they can handle it? And obviously a 2-week-old baby is different from a 2-year-old child. But just in general, this is another area to manage our expectations and to really make intentional choices about what we decide we're going to give up on behalf of our children because somebody else, an expert and research, have told us, well, this is what's best. As I think about my own expectations I have of myself as a mom, and I'm trying to think about them a lot to kind of weed through as much as I can before we meet our baby. I find that, a lot of my expectations have to do with safety. And so I can see myself, if my baby has an accident, heaven forbid, she gets dropped or, things happen, right? We know, I'm sure you moms out there, your dad's like, oh my gosh, like it's gonna happen. There will be a number of accidents. It's just part of life. It happens. That could be an opportunity for me to feel like I let this happen to my baby. But I hope that what I'm building now as I try to be intentional is a sense of kindness and grace toward myself, that I have the self-talk to say, Alex, stop. Accidents happen. This doesn't mean you're failing as a mom. That's ridiculous. This is just part of life. Whoops, clean, kiss, move on. So I really hope that this video has helped you reflect and think about ways that you can maybe adjust your expectations to work for you, and that you walk away feeling like you can give yourself more grace and be more kind toward yourself. You deserve it. Thanks for watching.